Only 10 left. One to the final table. Today, we're playing a $400 40K guarantee event at the Wynn. Smaller guarantee, but that's because it's over in one day. I sit down and the table is half women and half men, so that's a nice surprise. And after busting 9 away from the money in the mystery bounty last night, I'm really happy to sit down and start a brand new tournament at a fun and energetic table. In this first hand, an older gentleman in the hijack opens to 700. One of the ladies that's at my table is in the cutoff and she makes the call. I'm on the button with pocket 8. I'm gonna flick in the call as well, and the big blind does the same. So 4 of us see the queen 8-5 rainbow flop. The original raiser checks it over to the cutoff and she decides to bet 1600 rather quickly into the other 3 opponents. Obviously we flop middle set, so we're loving this flop, but with such a dry texture, I'm gonna feel comfortable slow playing this one. So I toss in the call. The other 2 unfortunately fold. So heads up to the turn, which is the 5 of spades. Now we have totally locked down this board by boating up on the turn. And my opponent now bets 2,000. When you play these smaller buy-in events, people give away their hand strength a lot with their bet size. And so when she goes this small on the turn, I think she probably has top pair, medium kicker, or a pretty bad kicker, maybe even a pair under a queen, because it doesn't look like she wants to pile in a ton of money with whatever holding she has. Obviously, she could have some semi-bluffs that like backdoor spades or something like that. So if I raise with a boat right now on the turn, I think it make it really easy for her to just fold those medium-ish strength hands, and I get her to fold all of her bluffs. So I want to keep all of those hands in here till the river. So that's why I land on a call. The river is a 7 of clubs now, and she checks it over to me. Now I got to go for value. If I jam for the size of the pot, I again might shake those top pair weak kickers. So I make it half pot. I bet 5,000. She does land on a call. And when I show her my boat, she flips over queen jack offsuit. So good read, I think. And I scoop the pot and send my stack in the right direction. This next one is an all ladies flop. When under the gun opens, small blind is the same opponent from last hand, calls, and I'm in the big blind with 9-8 offsuit. I'm getting in there, so to a flop we go. And would you look at that? No big deal, just flopping a set last hand, making the nuts straight this hand, and this time the small blind, the same opponent, leads for 1,400 into 2,400. She only has about 10K to start the hand, so I just want to raise and get it in against her. There is a flush draw on board, so I want to get it all in case she has one of those. And if not, I don't want a diamond to come off and slow her down. So all in all, I think this is a good spot to raise to 4,500. Under the gun folds, small blind goes all in, we snap call, and she has king 9 of diamonds, so we just need to hold against the flush draw. The turn is a dagger to my heart, 3 diamonds right on the turn, 5 of clubs on the river, and we are drawing dead after that turn card. So, what started out as such a promising flop ended in disaster, and we send all of her chips right back over to her. The next good spot I find, I've got ace jack suited on the button for 16 blinds. And some people just start open jamming when they get kind of on the shorter side under 20 bigs. But this hand is definitely good enough to raise, call it off if only one person goes all in. So that's what I do. I raise to 1,200. Small blind goes all in for 9,700. He has me covered by 100. The big blind folds. And the reason I know his exact stack size was because I call it off. We're up against ace 7 offsuit. There's a 7 on the river, and we realize he has exactly 100 chips more than me. So that was bullet 1, and we're on to the next one. Bullet 2 is starting on a much higher note. I didn't even get my camera out before this guy shoves for 9,100 under the gun. We're still at the same big blind, and I wake up with pocket 10s in the big blind. I'm obviously calling this off, and he showed up with king 8 suited. So as you can see, like I said, some people start shoving a little bit wider when they're under 20 big blinds. So if you're new to tournaments, or if you're not sure about what to do under 20 big blinds, it might be worth checking out some pre-flop ranges because you might have more wiggle room than you think. Anyway, I'm scooping in another pot and ready to make this bullet work for me. A few levels go by and I'm starting to accumulate a stack and build some history with my opponents. This one guy has been particularly active and me and him have been in every pot together, and this one is no different. In this one I have pocket jacks in the hijack and open it up to 2,500. He comes along in the small blind, and once the big blind is out of there, he says, And I say, wouldn't have it any other way. And the dealer puts out queen, jack, 10, 2 clubs and a diamond. So flopping middle set, but there are a lot of draws out here. So I'm going to start building this pot, put some more chips before any scary cards come off, and I get him to fold worse. So when he checks, I bet 2,200. He makes the call. I think I could probably go bigger now that I'm looking at this. Turn comes 7 of spades. He checks again. I size up now on the turn. I bet 8K into 11-8. Again, he makes the call. A little more hesitant this time though. The river is the 3 of spades. Dream run out for me. Middle set still stands to be good since he hasn't raised on any other street. So I bet 15,000 into 27-8. And he tanks forever. When I look back at the footage, he tanked for a full minute. And when you only have 30-minute levels, that feels like a really long tank. He finally does land on a fold and claims that he had king jack that hand. So he was really trying to call me off light. Anyway, we're scooping in a good pot and building some momentum now on bullet number 2. All right, my opponent in this next hand is none other than Eric Baldwin, aka Basebaldy, aka guy who plays every single day and wins everything at the Wynn. Needless to say, I'm a little intimidated by him. He's the opponent who opens in the low jack to 4K in this hand. I've got 7-6 of diamonds and peel on the button. Big blind comes along as well, so 3-handed we see the 9-9-3 2 diamond flop. Big blind checks. Eric also checks. He does not c-bet this board, and I think he could be doing that with traps that are planning on check raising, things like ace-9 or overpairs. He could be doing that with pure give-ups that are just trashy hands, jack-10 offsuit, stuff like that. And then he can be doing that with check calls, so medium strength hands that don't want to necessarily bet and get blown off their equity. So I think against most of his range, my hand plays pretty well as a bet in position. So I bet 7,000 into 14.5, a little on the larger side for a 3-way pot. Big blind gets out of there and Eric does indeed call, which is a relief because this hand did not want to get the trap sprung on it. It would be really awkward with these stack sizes. The turn is the deuce of spades, so now there's a double flush draw on board. He checks it over to me again, and I decided not to bet because I didn't want to get check jammed off of my flush draw. When I talked to Jesse, he's like, well, it is only a 7-high flush draw. It's okay if you get check jammed off of it. It's not really a big deal. So I wish I could take this one back and double barrel. But the dealer bailed me out anyway, gave me the queen of diamonds on the river. That's right, we are just running hot in this tournament. Making a flush on the end, he checks it over to me a third time. I choose a 2/3 pot size bet on the river. He thinks for a very long time before letting it go. He's just too good. And we scoop in yet another pot. I've been at my table for about an orbit and there's a huge chip stack on my table. In this hand, he's in the big blind, and this is the first hand I've opened at this table since being here. So I opened pocket 7s in the cutoff. Big stack peels the big blind. We go heads up to a king 10 5 flop. I c-bet on this one, especially with there being a flush draw. There's less backdoors that he could have. So if it was a rainbow board, he could have a bunch of different backdoor flush draws. He's pretty limited to the amount of draws that can continue. So I like c-betting this one. I go on a little bit of a larger side. He does make the fold. We're getting closer and closer to the money. The next time I'm involved in a pot, it's with the 2 big stacks, and I can sense that there's some history between the 2 of them, but I'm not quite sure what it is yet. But they are definitely playing a little bit of an ego war over there with their 2 big stacks, and I'm just trying to hang on for dear life over here as the third wheel in this pot. So first big stack, the big chip leader opens the hijack to 10-5, cutoff calls, and I'm in the big blind with ace-jack offsuit. I also make the call. I have to tread lightly. Remember, we're getting close to the money. The flop comes out ace-5 deuce rainbow. Check it to the big stack. He bets 14-5. Cutoff folds, and I'm obviously going to make the call with top pair. The turn is the 5 of diamonds. It goes check, check. River is the 9 of hearts, and I want to give him every opportunity to bluff, so I check it to him for a third time. He doesn't take the bait. He checks it back because he has pocket kings. And even though this was a small pot, stacks are getting shorter on average, and every chip is crucial at this point. The very next hand, I get ace-7 offsuit in the small blind when it's folded all the way around to me. I check out the big blind stack. He has about 6 big blinds. I stick in enough gray chips to put him all in. He calls it off, and my ace-high holds against his king-queen, bringing me 1 player closer to the money. Plus, my stack is starting to rival the bigger ones at my table, and that would put us in a great spot once the money bubble starts to get a little bit closer. And now I pick up pocket queens under the gun. So I'm gonna open this up to 8,000. Button is the other big stack. He makes the call, and the small blind seems a little timid, but he goes ahead and puts his chips in there. So 3 ways we see the queen 6 deuce rainbow board. I'm just on fire today. It's pretty nice. Small blind checks. I'm not going to see about this one because I've basically locked up the board. It's super dry, and I just want to let other people either catch up or start bluffing. And the button obliges. He throws out a 12K bet. Small blind's out of there. I make the call. The turn is a 9 of diamonds. Not much changes, but this time he checks back. River is the 6 of hearts. So now that we're on this river, I go for some value. I bet 20K into 56. It's rather small, and I think I was just targeting hands like pocket 7s, pocket 8s, even lower pairs than that would call this river but not bet themselves. But looking back on it, I think maybe I should just check this river because, yeah, he's gonna have some pocket pairs that I'll miss value on by checking, but I think he's probably got so many more bluffs that just took a stab on this flop, tried to take advantage of the money bubble situation, having a big stack, and would maybe potentially bluff if I check to him a 3rd time. So I think that maybe this value bet was a little bit greedy on my part or a little bit too hopeful, and that if I had checked, I would get at least the opportunity to let him bluff into me. Anyway, he makes the fold, as you might have guessed, and we're about 30 people left in this tournament. It's getting down to crunch time. And just like that, we're at the final 3 tables, 27 left right before dinner break. Sick heater we just went on. I've got 135K, a little bit above average. We're only 10 away from the money. We're at the final 3 tables. First place gets around $15,000. Min cash is 960 something, but I'm going for first place. I want that Wynn trophy. It looks like a miniature version of the Wynn Hotel. Oh, it's my favorite casino. It would be the best one to win. So fingers crossed, one step at a time. That first we make the money. Next step is final table. Then it's on to the Wynn. The Wynn at the Wynn. That would be very nice. Finishing up dinner break, gonna head back in there and hope that this heater continues. That was so fun. And let's fast forward to the direct hand-for-hand money bubble. Nothing much interesting happened after dinner break. Our stack is still pretty much the same, although the blinds are a lot bigger, so it's not as healthy as it once was. But we're still here, surviving. 16 left, 15 will pay. And if you've never been in a hand-for-hand money bubble situation, I'll let you hear how this works directly from the floor guy.
Each table is revealed one hand and five at the same time. For each hand that is dealt, 2 minutes goes off the tournament clock, regardless of how long the hand takes. And we will continue this until we lose at least one player. During hand-for-hand play, players are required to stay at your own seat or entirely out of the area. While hand-for-hand is going, you cannot go to the other table.
Oh, it's Every hard. Tournament, there's always one.
It's hard. All right, we officially made it. I have this many. We're gonna run it up now. Fist bump some people. I'll fist bump the David.
Good job. Congratulations.
Yay!
Good job.
Okay, this one's gonna get shoved a lot now. Woo-hoo! And true to my word, I go on a shoving spree with my little 68K stack. I never get called, I just get them all through, and just with a bunch of shoves in a row, we spin it all the way up to 170K. Look, you guys, we made it to the fun part where the clock's not moving anymore. Only 10 left, 1 to the final table. I'm all alone on my side of the table. There's nobody over here. All right, they're dealing the high card. We're all drawing for the final table. We made it. 9 people left. Let's go. Yes, this is the perfect seat for vlogging. Let's do this. And now, back to some more floor guy rules.
Congratulations on making the money and now the final table. If at any time all remaining players agree to chop the price to end the tournament, we'll pretty much do anything you want. But if a player does say no, that they do not want to chop, you continue to play with no chop discussions unless that player brings it up. In other words, you cannot try to pressure someone to chop.
All right, so our final table situation is not great. We are one of 2 of the shortest stacks, and I have the most dominating chip leader I've ever seen sitting on my direct left. He's got over 50% of the chips left in play with 9 people remaining in the tournament. So I'm gonna have a hard time getting my all-ins through this guy. Then the second dominating chip stack is a few seats to his left. We have an uphill battle ahead and a lot of work to do. We we get our first few shoves through and our first 25K chip of the tournament. So at this point, I'm 9 of 9 in this final table, and I'm filming every single hand because I know at any moment I could be busted out of this event. So I look down at pocket kings this hand. Obviously, this is wonderful to see. I'm under the gun 2 when I shove. I get called by the hijack player who has ace-jack offsuit.
How'd you have a bet?
I got a big bet.
Oh, nice.
We do hold, and I double up. This was a huge double up at the final table. Now I think I'm at least middle of the pack, which means I still have to play pretty tight because I have the monster chip leader to my left. He can put a lot of pressure on me at this point if I start opening up into him too loosely. One player busted shortly after that, so now there's 8 left, and I get pocket aces on the button. So I know, right? I'm playing kings, now I've got aces. Just running so good today. Anyway, under the gun 1 is the second biggest stack, and he just limps in from under the gun 1. I have aces on the button, I make it 50,000 off of my 250K stack. He's been playing a lot of hands. He has no problem calling this one. And we both see the flop of 5-5-4 rainbow. Super dry flop. I'm obviously gonna c-bet. I wanna keep him in. I wanna reel him in. I bet a small size of 40,000 into 140, but he doesn't take the bait. He ends up folding and we're chipping up a little bit more. Next thing I know, people are just busting left and right as I glance up at the tournament clock, making money with every single elimination. The most shocking one was the second place chip leader at the table, busting out in 6th place in pretty glorious fashion against the main chip leader. So now only 4 remain. Myself and the guy to my right are both the short stacks. We're sort of competing for third at this point. The guy to my left has 70% of the chips in play. The guy to his left has double my stack and the 4th place stack. So he definitely is playing very tight. He wants to at least lock up 2nd place. So me in 4th place, like I said, battling it out. I'll shove a couple times. He'll shove a couple times, but it definitely seems like I've been on the looser side of things with my all-ins and that he's just willing to blind down. And that played itself out in its extreme when he blinded down all the way to 1 big blind left. So let me lay out this 4-handed dynamic. Guy to my left is still the overwhelming monster stack. Guy to his left is now the new cowboy with a very healthy 2nd place stack. Obviously now the micro stack is to my right and I'm sitting here with 10 big blinds in 3rd place. As you can see, 2nd place guy is incentivized not to play any hands. He does not want to bust or get involved with the monster stack before this micro 1 big blind stack busts. Same with me. I don't want to take 4th when this guy has 1 big blind. Okay, so that was the 4-handed dynamic. Now that this guy only has 1 big blind, the cutoff sees that and decides to limp. That's the 2nd place guy right now. Button does indeed go all in for his last 1 big blind. So now we have an opportunity. If all of us are in the pot, it's more likely that one of us will outdraw the 1 big blind stack. So I flick in the extra 15K with 9-3 of diamonds. Obviously, terrible hand. But in this situation, I want to play almost 100% of hands if I think the chip leader is going to let us get away with it. And he has been letting me get away with a lot so far. Anyway, he does attack this spot. He raises enough to put me and 2nd place all in, trying to clear out the pot. And honestly, it's in his best interest to do so because he doesn't care if the micro stack quadruples up in this spot. It's going to make this sort of semi payout bubble go on even longer. So he doesn't really care if that happens. He still benefits from 4 people still being in the tournament. And so 2nd place begrudgingly folds, rolls his eyes. I obviously fold. And what do you know? The big monster stack woke up with ace queen. He knocks out the micro stack. I mean, good game to the 4th place guy. He and I were the 2 super shortest stacks coming into this final table, and he managed to ladder up all the way to a 4th place finish. Nice job. And now there's only 3 left. We're still really short. We're going to come back with less than 10 big blinds, but that's still plenty to work with. We've been short stacking this whole entire final 15 or something, so let's make it happen. Final 3, let's go. All right, 3 left. We're guaranteed 5,500. 14,755 or something like that up top. Let's do it. Plus there's a mystery bounty final table happening back here, which is cool. We have this many at 30K big blind, so we just basically go all in or fold. So I don't get any good hands to shove. I did miss one spot where I was on the button with 5 blinds and 9-10 offsuit. That was a jam. I missed it. And now I'm in the small blind with like 3.5 blinds. I pick up a king. I'm obviously all in. After glancing at his cards, the monster stack has the dealer dramatically count out my last 3 big blinds. Pauses for another few moments before finally calling off with ace high. Come on, man, that's a snap. Anyway, here's the run out.
All right, good game.
No, the sun run finally comes to an end. We did enter this final table 9 out of 9 and somehow laddered ourselves all the way up to 3rd place. So I will take that as a success. We were so close to having this moment. Oh my goodness. Well, it did feel really good to run deep, you guys. 3rd place at the Wynn 400, all in one day. Started at 1 o'clock. It's almost 1 o'clock now. Made 5K on the day. Not bad. So close to making about like 9K more, but couldn't do it. Couldn't do it at the end. Obviously had to get really lucky all along the way to even get there. I'm happy with the turnout. Oh, it's finally hitting me. Okay, now that I'm sitting here for a second. We just made a final table on the vlog. It was vlogged the whole way. I'm super grateful that I got to bring you guys, oh, there goes the light, that I got to bring you guys along for the experience today. What a crazy ride. And honestly, I have to thank all of you guys for watching this channel because normally on Sundays I play online, but yesterday I played the mystery bounty. I lasted 11 hours, but honestly there were not that many hands, so I couldn't really make a vlog out of it. And so I'm way more dedicated to you guys and bringing you a good tournament to vlog about rather than just like grind another Sunday online. So that's the reason why I came here, just so that I had another vlog ready for you guys. Isn't that crazy? And now I took 3rd. Like, I don't know, really fun. I know it's not like a huge score and it's not a big deal, but any type of milestone that you can celebrate as a tournament player, you better, because you guys have seen how long it took to get to this place. I hope we get to go even deeper more often. Almost forgot. So today I'm in for 800 total, cashed out for 55.85 for total profit of 47.85 on the day. Nice. All right, you guys, I will see you guys in the next vlog. Bye.